Hi everyone, it's Mike here. So Ian's hard at work in his workshop trying to prepare for a show which he has coming up this weekend. So he's asked me to step in this morning and do his Steampunk Tuesday video. But he did say that he did need another thank you card. So I thought this might be the perfect opportunity to sit down, create another steampunk style thank you card for his offering for his Steampunk Tuesday. So let me turn over to my camera over there and I'll show you what I'm going to create. Okay, so the size of card that I'm going to be creating today is an A6 in UK and Euro sizes, or metric sizes. The nearest one to the Americans I think is the A2. So this is just a half of an A4 which has just been folded on the side. So I have a black envelope to match, so that's going to be my base and envelope once it's actually done. So I've been wanting to use this image that I found on the interwebs for quite some time. I found it a while ago, a couple of months ago, and I just stored it to one side. I just thought it was absolutely great. So it's dating from around about the 1920s, 1930s. It's a little bit later than Victorian steampunk, but I still think it works quite well because he's got that top hat and he's got that splendid cigar. So I think this will work really, really well. And I haven't used my steel plate embossing folder from Timmy and Sizzix, which is the really deep textured one, for quite some time. So I thought that would be quite useful as well. And also I've got a sheet of like circuit board, printed circuit board paper, which is double-sided, but I'm going to use the brown side. Now this is a piece of paper from a Stamperia paper pad, but I can't tell you what the name of it is because it's been orphaned from its pad, so I can't remember what the name of it was. So we're going to be using that as well. Not only are we going to be using that, but also I've got a piece of the Tim Holtz Coordinations cardstock. This is the Craft Core cardstock, which is great if you want to do some embossing because it's got that craft core and you can sand the top of it, but we're going to be getting a real deep texture. But on this, I can't decide whether to use that side or whether to use that side. Now, if I use that side, it means I can go over the raised bits with some of that new salvaged patina distress ink that he's just brought out. Now I do have it somewhere, and of course I put it safe. That's cracked pistachio. It'll be here somewhere anyway. So I could use that. There it is, salvaged patina. So I could use that to go over the raised bits just to give that a bit of texture. So I think that's the way I'm going to go. So what I've done is I've created some what we call mats out of black cardstock. So they will create, they're just a few millimeters difference. So let me just move that out of the way so you can see it better. So the black mat is just a few millimeters larger than the main piece. It doesn't really matter how big, as long as you've got a nice kind of even frame all the way around. It could be, you know, 1/8 of an inch, 2/8 of an inch, you know, as much as you want. But before we do anything, I'm going to put this through my embossing folder. Now, with these texture fades, the 3D texture fades, they're quite detailed. And if I try to put that straight through that embossing folder, it'll probably crack. So the best way to do it is to actually spritz it with water first before you put it through your machine. So I've just got some kitchen towel. And I think I've just decided I am going to do it that side, so the craft side. So I'm just going to put a little bit of kitchen towel down just to stop the water from going everywhere. And I'm just going to give it just like an even light spritz all the way over. And just let that water kind of soak in before I put it through my big shot. Just make sure I get it all. So we don't want it just to split in areas, so make sure the waters are covered completely. There we go. That should do it. So I'm going to pop that into the embossing folder, making sure I've got it the right way around. So just lay that in, and then I'm going to just quickly, off camera, run that through my Big Shot. Okay, so I've run that through. So now you can see that detail you get with that embossing folder. Look at that. Fantastic. I'm glad I did it on the craft side because I think it looks a lot better. So what I need to do is I need to get that dried off. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a waft, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so now that's dry, I'm going to bring in that salvage patina. I'm going to pick, I've got a brand new foam, and I'm just going to give that a whiz round. Pick up plenty of the colour. It doesn't feel as juicy as the pads are normally. And then I'm going to just lightly start going over the top. So can you see how it's picking up some of that detail? Kind of a subtle colour. See it better if you do that and just pick it up. There we go. So that's now giving it a kind of weathered kind of look, hasn't it? So let's get that dried. Okay, so that's dried and just left that patina on the surface. I kind of like that, but I just want to make it a little bit darker. So I've gone and grabbed my tea dye. So let's just see if I've got my, there it is, my tea dye foam. And then I'm going to go around the edges and just darken that up. It seems to be soaking into that craft core quite quickly. So I might just go back through and add some more of that patina. So let's just grab that patina, just so I can see it. I'm going to do on the work mat again, because it didn't look as though it was actually picking up much when I was doing it from the pad. Whether that's a peculiarity of the actual ink pad itself, with it being new. There we go. building up the colour. Of course, we don't have to go too mad with this because we are going to be covering some of it up anyway with the picture. Okay, so there we have our piece. So you can decide which way up you want to go, top or bottom. You see how all the colour has picked out that detail. So that now looks a little bit kind of distressed and a little bit rusty, which is perfect for what we want. So now we've got our piece of black cardstock. I want to mount that onto that cardstock as the bit of background. So it's now going to be framed. So to do that, I want some double-sided tape. Okay, so double-sided finger lift tape. Actually, this is full double-sided, it's not finger lift. So I'm going to put a strip down the side there and then just snip that off. So rather than this being a collage piece, it's a matte and layered piece, which is unusual for me because I don't often do them this way anymore. I used to do this quite a lot with the mats and the layers. I haven't done it in quite some time. And then we'll put another piece just down the middle. Yeah, it tears quite nicely. Okay, so I'm just going to give that a rub just to make sure that the tape is stuck. And then we'll see if we can persuade it to come up. There we go. So I think we'll put it, yeah, let's do it that way up. Right, I may have to get my head in shot for this, so, or stand up to do it so I can see I've got the right equal kind of frame all the way around. That looks like it. And you see I've gone off on a little bit of a tangent, which is always a bit of a worry with this stuff. There we go. A little bit of a larger border down at the bottom, but you know, nobody's perfect. No poddy is perfect. Alright, so I'll get some of that tape on the back, like so, and then when we're ready, we can just stick that down on the front of our card. So that's the first base layer. Next, I've got a strip of that Stamperia paper that I've cut. So that's the one with the circuit board, which I want to put just as a little panel just down the side there. So again, I'm just going to add some double-sided tape. You could use glue, as our friend says, whatever blows your hair back, which has now entered into our common usage. Okay, so again, do I have to use the knife to take that off? Probably, because my nails aren't long enough to get underneath. There we go. Right, so again, just try and get it so it evens up. If you don't get it perfect first time, you can always trim it just to kind of get that even border. There we go. And then we can do that again. Down the back. Black cardstock that I've used is smooth on one side and then textures on the other, but I don't really think it matters which side you use. I think I should have used glue, but hey ho. Okay, so let's add that strip just down the side, like so. And then we've got our mat for our fabulous character, which will need trimming, but I want to go around that just with some of that tea dye, just to kind of grungy him up a little bit more. Even though the photograph is fairly old, it's not a dirty photo, so we'll make it dirty. And you can go as mad as you like with the colour. You can bring it right in if you want to. The photo was already done with a sepia tone, but there's nothing stopping it adding even more. There we go, that looks good. I like that. But let's just have a look to see what would happen if we just add a tad of that salvage patina, just to add a little bit of that colour, just to bring it in. Just lightly. Just helps just to lift it a little bit. I hope that's not too bright. It has gone a little bit more green, but that's fine. We can live with that. Okay, so again, let's just give that a wipe down. And then, shall we use glue on that? I think so. Got a brand new tube of spirit glue. So let's just, there we go. I might need a little bit of additional drying time, but at least we'll be able to get it even. A little bit of wiggle room with this stuff. Okay. Just drop that down on there. Haha, like it. I said you wouldn't be able to see much of that circuit board. Okay, so I want to add some of that tape. Actually, just use some glue. I'll just use some glue. And if you're thinking, no, you haven't trimmed off the bottom yet, where there's that excess little piece of black strip, don't worry. I haven't forgotten about it. I'm actually going to leave it on. because I'm going to add something to it. There we go. I don't mind that there's a few kind of like frayed bits on there. Okay, so the next thing is I've found, which is not my light, excuse me, one of these old Tim Holtz label strips, which I'm going to put just there, which is why, excuse me, I left it. So I've got some black, it's seam binding actually. I'm going to just feed that through. I might have to just snip it off. Probably made a complete dog's ear of that one. Typical, the scissors aren't sharp when you want them to be. Okay, so just thread that through from the back to the front, if it'll go through. There we go. And then I'll thread that one from the back to the front, creating that ribbon band. And then somewhere, I did see them recently. Where did I put them? I've had to tidy up and can't find anything. Be right back. There we go. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for some foam dots. So I'm going to put a dot there. So that will stick onto there. Let's do 3. Okay. Okay, so I've centered this on the back and I've just pulled it taut. And I'm going to stick it down just there, and then I'm going to wrap the ribbon around the back, and I'm going to peel those bits off, and then just catch those just on that tape. Like that, and then do the same for the other side. And I'm sure there's about 1,001 other ways I could have done that, but that's the method I'm doing today. So again, I can just bring that across and just stick that down, and then I can just trim off. Let's get some proper scissors. Say proper scissors, even these are catching. I think all my scissors want sharpening. There we go. So that'll hold that down, just like that. And then we can get our front line it up. Hopefully we've got that straight. We've got our little steampunky style card. And then just to finish off on the inside, I've got another piece of the black card, another piece of that circuit board, but I've also got a piece of white cardstock that I'm just going to stick down onto the middle there, so we've got a little area to write on. So I'm just going to do that with glue because it'll be a lot quicker than fiddling with tape. Just flip that side over, make sure we get it the right way up. Of course we've got a little bit of wiggle room, not a huge amount, but we have some. And then what I'll do is I'll just quickly go around the white cardstock. Okay, and then add some glue to that. And then put that panel in the middle. And just flip it over. There we go. Don't really need huge amounts. Make sure you don't get any on your fingers. And then I can open the card up, and then I can add that little piece just on the inside, just as somewhere to write. So you can put your little message, your little thank you on the front there. So you could, if you've got them, go a little bit further. You could add some little faux rivets, you could add maybe a cog in the corner or something just to show, or even maybe just put a little bit on his hat. Let me see if I've got anything I can add just to put a little bit more decoration on there. Okay, so I've gone through my little collection and I've got these 3 small little cogs and that larger one there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the glue and I'm just going to put a little blob just underneath that ribbon there. And then I'm going to slide that cog just underneath the ribbon, just like that. That will hold that there when that dries. And then these 3 smaller ones, I'm just going to add some little decoration. So I'll just put a little blob there, little blob there, and I'm doing that with my finger because I don't want to get a string on it, and a little blob there. Okay, so that one's the larger of the 2, so that one can go in the middle, like that. drop onto there, and then that one can drop onto there. And that should hopefully just give it a little bit of time and they will dry quite nicely. So I'll be back when they're dry. Okay, so I decided I didn't like it on that corner, so I moved it over before the glue set. So now we've got the 3 just going down there, and then that one which kind of balances it a little bit better. So on the inside, now just to finish off, our panels dry. I've used my Dymo label maker, which is the impact label maker, and I've just gone and punched out this little with thanks label, and I've just trimmed it to the right size, and I'm just going to take the back off if I can get it. It's a bit fiddly when you haven't got nails. I cut mine the other day after breaking one, as you do, and now I'm lost without them. Right, so I'm having to use scalpels and things like that. Okay, so I'm going to take that down to the bottom, and I'm just going to lay it just so it's covering the edges, and then just give that a push down. And there you go. Plenty of space to write your little message, and then we've got our kind of steampunk rogue on the front, Exhibit A. So there you go. That's my little offering for Steampunk Tuesday this week. I'll just team that up now with that envelope, which goes quite nicely with the black. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed watching that. If you have, please remember to give it a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. That's all from me for now. I'll see you all again very soon. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. Thank you.